Hello there, my fellow mercenaries. That was Judge and Evo there in the dropships, two of probably the most experienced dropship pilots in the game, having a little bit of a derp moment, and not very good for their wallets, but pretty good for me for having a little laugh there. I hope you don't mind me putting that in, guys, but that was quite funny. So, Dust 514. I've been playing a little bit this week. I think I've almost capped out actually, which is quite unusual. I don't normally cap out in the week, but I have been enjoying it quite a lot. A lot of people have been sort of whinging about redline rail tanks and dropships not being good enough and stuff, but because I'm an infantry player, I'm just boots on the ground. I like running about, shooting people. I don't really like getting in tanks or getting in dropships. I kind of miss all of that, those problems with it, I think. So it's not really an issue for me. I can just sort of run around and that doesn't become a problem. But I do have to admit, running solo in games is really tough. You just got to completely change your game style. If I'm in a squad with people, I can be a bit more bold, run out. I've got intel if stuff starts coming in and that. But if I'm on my own, I have to really watch myself, hide behind cover a lot, and be a little bit more scared, I guess, of running out and engaging stuff. Now, what's happening in Dust? Everything's gone really quiet in Dust. Nothing's being said. No one's saying anything. All the forums are really quiet. There's no devs posting anything. It's all just speculation. And obviously 1.8 is going to come out. Will it come out before FanFest? I was just thinking, we've got, from the time I make this video, it's 2 to 3 months. Let's have a look. So yeah, it's about 9 weeks away from FanFest, and FanFest, they like to do their big reveals. Last FanFest, it seemed like we were promised quite a lot, and if I think about what's happened in this year to what we were sort of, or not what was promised, but what was shown as being in development, especially on the PvE side and the suits, you know, we were definitely going to have the suits. They'd shown us the artwork for it and everything, and with PvE they were showing us the drones and everything, and the sort of, that was a year ago now, and it doesn't quite feel like a year. So I think they're just sort of prepping themselves for this FanFest, what they're going to say, and not to maybe perhaps overstep themselves as much as they did last time, to sort of calibrate it down to perhaps what's going to be a little bit more realistic and what they're actually going to be able to do. Whether even this game goes on, or it gets dropped, or it gets shelved for a little bit, or they work on it a little less, or it moves platforms, or the future is just so unknown. And I'm pretty sure that everything's going to drop information wise for us all at FanFest. But then from what we had last FanFest, it wasn't, you know, those ideas and the views perhaps weren't realized. So we might get shown a load of sparkly stuff that is expected to come, and it might never come again, or it might take another year. Or I remember it was really Dust 514 focused last year, and they kind of had Eve banner and Dust 514 banners, and it was kind of 50-50 Eve and Dust, and you could see that they were putting a lot of effort into it. But now they seem to be putting in quite a bit of effort into Eve Valkyrie, their other project, which links up with the Oculus Rift, the kind of tech demo game, as people are calling it. So maybe this year the focus might be much more on Eve Valkyrie. Perhaps they'll have, you know, banners up about that, and it'll be more focused about that and a little less about Dust, which will be a shame if that is the case, because I think Dust could have a really good future. It just needs probing and poking in the right direction, and if it had that kind of time and investment spent in it in the right way that it should do, then it could do really well as a game. I just think it takes a little bit too long to develop things. I think it should be a lot more finished by now, and I'm sure they think that as well, and they're probably a little frustrated with where it is now to where they wanted it to be now, and it probably, you know, that's business. Sometimes you don't quite get as far as you want to, but you reach for the stars, and if you get to the moon, then at least you got to the moon, you know. So also in the run-up to FanFest, we're supposed to have CPM 1, which I don't know whether that will go ahead. I haven't really seen too much about it. Again, the sort of entry in how people are going to vote or anything hasn't popped up, so I hope that's being worked on as well. Although, do you need a CPM for a game where there's only 4,000 or 5,000 people playing it at a time? But reading some of the posts of the people wanting to become CPM is quite funny. It's all just generic bullshit at the end of the day, isn't it? And I'll just let you know that Derek the Bird will be running for CPM 1, and he's counting on your vote. And if he gets in, he's going to do a lot for this game. I just want to tell you now. He was actually just telling me the other day that one of his dreams is to see the Aurora Borealis and to go to Iceland and see that. So if we could make that happen, that would be really cool. I was just having a chat to some people in squad earlier, and I think we were trying to work out how many new suits are coming, like to fill in the extra slots, like the extra heavies and light frames that we'll be getting. And then someone chimed in and said, oh, if it's 5, I'd rather 5 new maps and 5 new game types than 5 new suits. And I don't care if you buff this and nerf that, or sort out redline railgun tanks. Just keep chucking maps and game modes and those kind of fun things in, and then the rest will sort itself out afterwards. But I suppose they're the kind of big things to develop: maps and game modes and things like that. Fighters and jets and other things that they want to get put into the game as well, and PvE, and chuck all these big stuff in, and then the little stuff like redline tanking won't matter anymore, because it won't be, other things will cancel it out. So those things will kind of be insignificant after a while, because you'll be like, oh, we've got PvE, we've got different types of tanks, we've got different types of dropships, we've got jets flying through, we've got this, we've got that, and by that time no one will even remember what red railgun tanking is like, and sitting in the red line railgun tanking, that everyone will just forget about it, or it won't matter, it won't be that big a deal, or nerfing this gun and nerfing that gun. There'll be a load of new things to worry about and mess about with, but we'll have a load of new content. So I think you can have flavour of the month, and you can also have whinge of the month, or I think obviously red railgun tanks, and I keep calling them red railgun tanks, red line railgunning and stuff is obviously a problem, but I don't know, it's kind of, it'll be something else next week, or when the next patch comes in they might not need to address it that much, because it might just fix it anyway. It's like nerfing guns and then they reduced the time to kill, and it just changed everything anyway. It's just swings and roundabouts quite a lot of the time, isn't it? And that's the hard thing about being a developer, is getting those things right, and they're the essential things at the end of the day. But when you keep adding new things and features all the time, I don't think those sorts of stuff matter. It's just chuck stuff in, throw new stuff in until it gets to the point where it's an actual game, and then start to worry about everything else. But I've got to say, quite a lot of the problems that I have, I guess, because I've picked up from looking on the forums and listening to other people. But personally, when I log on, I'll log on for an hour or maybe 2, have a few games, and I always kind of enjoy myself. And I think because I don't overplay the game or push it too far. I mean, it's a free game for the PlayStation 3, and it's really enjoyable. You can just download it and play this game for free. You don't have to invest loads of time into it and start stressing and worrying about it, and worrying about the next patch and what's going to happen and all of that. But you kind of feel at one with your character a little bit, and the development of your character, and then you kind of worry where the game's going, because you do enjoy playing it, and you kind of start willing it to do well and to succeed, because you've started to build up your little character and your skill points. I used to play it a lot more than I do now. I'd play it almost every evening when I got home from work, and weekends and stuff like that, and perhaps that was a little bit too much gaming for it. Just now, sort of once, twice a week is the way to play this game at the moment. And when they do bring more stuff in, then it's going to be exciting for you, and you can perhaps play it a little bit more and get a bit more invested in it. But until they start really turning a corner with this game and adding a few more things into it, I think I'm going to have this kind of back seat, just sort of plug in and play quickly attitude with this game until it gets a little bit more. Wow, I've been rambling for ages. How long is it? It's like 12 minutes of rambling. I think I better leave it there. But look at that, 30-4. Really had a good game there. That doesn't always happen. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and all that goodness. And if you want to watch a little video about the connection of Dust 514 with EVE Online, you can just click on the image there. Anyway, till next time, take it easy.